and welcome to this inspiring Super Network webcast. Today I'm joined by Julia Philpott, founder of JP Leadership Coaching and friend of the Automotive 30% Club. And today we'll be discussing more about maternity training. So Julia, are you ready for the questions?
I am.
Great. So can you just start by telling our readers and our subscribers a little bit more about yourself and a bit of brief career history?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. So my background is in corporate leadership development with companies like Virgin Atlantic, Asia Pacific Breweries. But I started working life with Ford Motor Company in their sales and marketing department and then into training. So I'm very familiar with the motor industry. My husband works in the motor industry. I've kind of spent the last 30 years hearing that, oh, I wonder how many cars we've sold today, refrain. And with my own business, I've worked with Mazda, Toyota, McLaren, Stellantis, Nissan, and a number of dealer groups as well.
Fantastic. So very, very well informed of the industry.
Yes.
Great. So you mentioned the fact that you obviously are now founder of JP Leadership Coaching, but why did you decide to set that up?
So when I was management development manager of Virgin Atlantic, and myself and my boss were really interested in coaching, and coaching was becoming more and more popular. So I went on a training course called the Intensive Coaching Skills course. It still runs today, and I just loved it. I fell in love with it and was looking for something a little bit more flexible. I had young children at the time, and so I followed up the course with a postgrad diploma in executive coaching and set myself up as an executive coach running my own business. It's tough with young children, and it's been really rewarding. So I've got a couple of corporate clients that give me regular work, and then I have the opportunity to explore other things that interest me, and the things that interest me usually relate to helping women to achieve their potential and be more successful in the workplace.
Fantastic. Sounds like you're pretty busy then.
Yeah, I like it.
Absolutely. So Julia, alongside this webcast, we will be publishing an article that you kindly wrote for us about maternity coaching. But can you tell us a little bit more about maternity coaching and why it is so important?
Yeah, I might take a step back actually and just talk a little about what coaching is, and then that will relate it. So coaching essentially is about helping people through change or to change. So that might be an external change, say you've been promoted, or there's been a restructure, or you want a career change, or it could be internal change, so changing your mindset, helping you to develop your leadership style, or enhancing your influencing skills. And when we have a baby, we experience both of those types of change at the same time.
Yes.
So, our whole world changes externally because we're having to take a gap and then go back to work. And also it's a complete identity shift. We go from being an individual to being a pregnant person, to being a mother, and then a working mother. And so what maternity coaching does is to support the mother through that process, both the psychological changes and the practical changes as they go through that process.
Great. So why is it that you think it's so important to have that maternity coaching?
Well, I mean, those changes are huge, and it can be a really unsettling time for a mother.
Yeah.
I mean, having a family is wonderful, and I mean, I was a complete basket case for the first 6 months when children were born. And so it helps to ease them. But what we get is what I call a case of the nappy changing gremlins. We go back to the workplace and we think, what can I possibly contribute to this conversation? All I've done is change nappies for a year.
Yeah.
Which is nonsense, because what we've done over the last year is have a crash course in multitasking, being super adaptable, learning that we can be absolutely amazing on very limited sleep. There are so many skills that we learn when we become parents that we kind of discount, and we forget that we're actually bringing all of those great skills back to the workplace. But we go into that, I'm rubbish, I can't do anything anymore mode. So that's why it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose you've touched on this slightly, but what benefits can maternity coaching provide for organisations?
Well, from the organisation's point of view, they get their employee back happy and productive, much more quickly than otherwise. And it sends such a clear message about, we care about you, we want you in our business. One of the organisations that I've done quite a lot of maternity coaching with, they actually saw their retention of new mums increase from 50% to 80%.
Incredible.
And that's a tech organisation, a bit like the motor industry. They lose women a lot. So it's keeping that gender balance in the organisation, the pull through and hold on of the Automotive 30% Club pillars.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, as well as the many inspiring women that are part of the Super Network, there's also our male allies and our people that haven't got children but wish to support those with children. So what advice would you give to women and I suppose to the allies who are transitioning back into workplaces?
Actually, there's a before they go off piece as well. So it can be really stressful for a pregnant person going off on leave, not knowing what's happening to her job while she's away. So if you've got someone who is going off and they're asking to talk to you about who's going to cover my role, how my tasks going to be distributed, please engage with them and talk to them, because I've seen far too many women getting very, very anxious about that. And then when they return, the thing I hear most frequently from women is, oh, my boss has got young children, so it's great because they get it. So if you don't have children and you don't understand what that's like, just please be understanding. If they can't come to work because their child's ill or whatever, they will be as frustrated about it as you are.
Yeah.
It's a tricky time, and we need to be flexible.
Yeah, and what about for the mothers that are returning?
Well, that's easy. Don't beat yourself up if you can't get back up to speed as quickly as you would like to. I think there's an assumption, because you've already worked in the business, that you should be able to just walk in and do your job straight away.
Yeah.
And in most cases, maternity leave is a year. If I asked you what was happening in your business a year ago, you probably wouldn't be able to tell me. So much happens and so much changes. So I often ask women the question, how long would you expect somebody who was new to the business to take to get up to speed? And usually they'll say weeks, months.
Yeah.
And so I say, well, okay, so give yourself that time, because so much will have changed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think often, correct me if you think I'm wrong on this, but I think often it is about the perception of yourself as well as, and think, that demon of what are other people thinking of me? Whereas, in reality, they're probably thinking, wow, that's incredible that you've returned to work a year after you've had a child.
And they're delighted to have you back. And so just as you say, it's what goes on in our own head, the self-talk. That actually is most of what I talk about in coaching sessions, helping to manage that, make it work for you.
Great. So that moves nicely on to the next question and the final question. So how can our Automotive 30% Club members access maternity training?
So you can speak to me, and you can get in touch with me in various ways. My details are on the 30% Club website. Have an initial conversation. Some organisations I work with have a policy of offering maternity coaching to all women at a certain level and above. You might want to pilot it. You might. I'm doing a pilot currently with Nissan in Sunderland. They're putting a couple of women through it and getting some feedback from them on how it's helped, so they can roll it out. But yeah, I'd be more than happy to have a no obligation conversation with any of the members.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Julia. And we will obviously include those contact details in this article as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been lovely to catch up with you, and hopefully this will help those within our Inspiring Super Network.
I hope so. Thank you very much.